Well, this is our campfire tale. We're up here in north central Tennessee, and we were just going to kind of shoot the bull a little bit, talk about some of our sightings and everything, how we got started and all of that. So, weather's really nice up here today. It's a little cool at night, so we decided to build us a campfire and just kind of do a little round table. I guess, Jan, we can start with you, man. You can kind of tell everybody how you got started with, your Bigfoot research and everything.
Well, started about 46 years ago, about 1968. Pretty much my oldest brother got me into it. And due to the fact, too, we had one of these things around our home back in the early 60s. And, that being a child, that sparked the interest, too. But I know in 1968, I seen the Patterson footage, which was real hot at that time. And a picture of a Bigfoot supposedly swimming across the lake in one of the junk magazines. So that's pretty much how it got me started, and from there it's just come to where we are today. Kind of come full circle, so to speak.
Yeah, I kind of, I guess when I was around 5 or 6, I was watching probably the same show you were, as Ancient Mysteries. I saw it was In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably when I saw the first type of, anything Bigfoot, and it was the Patterson film. Kind of weird, man. It was kind of new back then. Wasn't but about 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Patty film has withstood the test of time.
But I kind of forgot about all of that, man, until around 2007. When I was in Harris County, Georgia. And being a Freemason, I had this old gentleman that I know. I was looking for his house out on 116 East.
Mm-hmm. Know exactly where it is.
Out in Harris County, Georgia. And I was rounding a curve and off from the rocks. And it's just big. I say big. It was only probably around 6 foot, but this thing covered in all black, and had black skin and everything. It come down right off the rock face down into the middle of the road and just kind of peeked into the car. The car was a lot lower than it was, and we kind of had a 5-second stare off, and it went down into the woods, and that kind of rekindled everything for me.
Yeah. Well, that's like they say, once bitten, you're in it forever, regardless.
What about you, Renda?
Well, the first time I saw him was we was living in Franklin, Georgia. And he was living on top of this hill in this big old white house. And I just went in the kitchen and started looking out the kitchen screen door. And looked up on top of the hill, and I seen 3 of them. I seen a papa, a mama, and the baby. And the papa looked so big, huge, black. So was she. She was black. And she's about our ear length. The baby was about in the middle of the size length of your hips and your ribs. And I went and told my husband, I said, honey, what's black people doing up here? And he said, there ain't not supposed to be any up here. This is supposed to be a private property. I said, well, there are some out there. And he said, what did it look like? And I told him, and he sat there on his computer for a while.
They had the black skin and black hair and everything too?
Yeah. And he sat there at his computer, and about maybe 5 or 6 minutes, he got up and walked to the kitchen door. He didn't say, honey, I don't see anything. I said, well, they were up there, and he walked up there, and he seen where they'd been shuffling around.
Yeah, you could see where something had been moving around in that area. And yeah, and just to kind of let everybody know, I mean, no pun intended by her saying the black family or colored family.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry about that.
Nothing racial. Nothing racial. No.
Yeah, nothing racial there at all. But yeah, and that was the best way she knows how to describe it. But yeah, and you know, and she's saying it probably at a distance of about 50 feet, somewhere around there, 50, 60 feet. And even at that distance, when you have one of these creatures, and you know yourself,
yeah.
When you have one of these creatures that's standing 8 feet tall, he's massive.
Right.
You know, and females are, yeah, they're somewhat smaller in stature and shorter, but they're still very bulky also.
Right.
You know, the offspring, she when she described it to me and all height-wise, you know, he was probably somewhere between 4 and 5 feet tall.
A little bit more taller
So
than that.
he was milling around all over the place doing his thing. You know, he was just with mom and dad out for his stroll, so to speak. You know, he didn't have any concerns.
All right.
But you know, and I don't know if they noticed her, you know, when she moved away, you know, from the door of the window, which it was she was at. You know, and if they saw her move away, and then, you know, they moved away. But yeah, and when she came and asked me, you know, about that, when I was in my little office, you know, it didn't dawn on me that, you know, she was really seeing anything.
All right.
You know, so I didn't jump up and ran, and maybe that's one of the times I should have jumped up and ran.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't.
And all through that, I went out with my husband and his friends and all up on this big old mountain. And I saw another one up there past the fire we had built. He was a weird looking one. Big long hair, pink face.
Pink face.
Pink, kind of like
what
gray
color was the
pink.
hair?
The hair was kind of brownish color. And he was looking over towards the...
But and we also have to say, too, now this was at night with a roaring campfire going.
Yeah.
And where it came out onto the road that we were next to, this fire road, when I measured that off on the next trip up, actually, it was exactly 33 feet from the campfire.
Wow.
So you're talking all the lights from the camp and everything, and that could have made the skin texture of the face look what it did.
Yeah.
You know, just different light sources, but that was a unique night in itself. But you know, Renda got involved in '98 when we first met, and you know, she had heard of Bigfoot and never really paid that much attention to it, and you know, until she met me, the fanatic over it. And, you know, just over the years, she grew into it. And, you know, in 2006, you know, she started doing expeditions with me and, you know, going out and scouting things out, so to speak. And 2008, we started doing full-blown expeditions again.
All right.
And she's hung in like a trooper ever since. So, you know, she's just as devoted as we are, so to speak.
I actually started my Bigfoot research right here in this area of the woods that we are in. You know, the internet back in '97, you know, not everybody had internet, but fortunately through my work, you know, we had internet and all that stuff. And I had a lot of free time being a test engineer and everything. And so when I didn't have time to, you know, when we wasn't doing anything, you know, I'd take 10 or 15 minutes, check out the internet, and I ran across something, you know, a picture that looked very much like what I saw. Mm-hmm. Well, I clicked on the picture, and this organization that's over around Louisiana and Texas, Gulf Coast something, and I joined their group, and it was there I met, and I think shortly after that, I never renewed my membership back into that group, and shortly after that, her and a lot of other people were leaving that organization, and I formed Chattahoochee Bigfoot organization, and I started coming up here. And the place where we went today, the old Camp Widgewagon, or yesterday actually.
Yeah.
The old Camp Widgewagon is where I heard my first Bigfoot scream.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I saw my first Bigfoot footprint. And yesterday was the first time that I had been back up there in 7 years, but you know, I was with a couple of people that, you know, we had this big get together here in Tennessee and everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been coming up here kind of ever since. This is my 64th trip up here.
Yeah, that's a lot of trips.
And well, you take, you know, the last 17 years, that's quite a number of trips. You know.
Yeah.
It's not equal trips up here, and every year I don't take equal trips. Sometimes it was less, sometimes it was more on every year. But, you know, I started hanging around some of her entourage, and we started seeing all kinds of Bigfoot up in here, man. And,
yeah, and just by what I've been able to tell since we've been coming up here with you, and I think this is like our fifth trip. And this is it's a mega area. It's just,
it's like Bigfoot Mecca.
Yeah, it's a smorgasbord of them, man. Yeah, and not every time that we come up do we find something. You know, it's not all the time. And this is day 3 of this expedition, and we've had zilch until today in one of your special areas that you go, and you know, and you take very few people there, and me and Renda both are honored that you take us there. But we were able to smell one, you know.
Oh yeah.
So
that distinctive Bigfoot smell.
Yeah, just very distinct, real musky odor, and when it comes in, folks, I will tell you, it's there.
All right.
And it's very pungent, and it's that smell just lingers.
I always thought it was kind of like the smell of a wet goat. That's the grill. Yeah, kind of cross between a goat and a wet dog, and maybe sometimes a rotten egg smell. There really is no.
Yeah, there's really no way to describe the smell. You know, to me it was a sweet kind of sour, pungent odor. You know, and it's one of them you can't describe, but it's one that you've never smelled before.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, what was that? You know? And like I said, it don't go away. And you know, we got a little ways up the road, and I'm like, man, I still smell it. And you know, and it's like you said, you're gonna, once it's in your nose, it's gonna stay there.
Yeah, you never. It's got a unique smell, and once you smell it, you'll know what it is from now on.
Yeah, that's most definite. You know, and we try different things up here. You know, when we come up, you know, we try the little different food groups, and this time it happens to be apples.
Right.
So, you know, and we got a couple of locations set out, you know, that got this little smorgasbord of apples, and you know, hopefully, you know, a couple more days left, that maybe something take hold of something, and you know, leave us some good evidence. You know, you just never know.
Right.
You know, and you know, anytime you're in Bigfoot research, you know, anything you do it's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you know, somebody that goes out and finds something every single time they go out, you know, have a tendency to kind of look at them a little funny, because it doesn't really happen like that.
Yeah. You know, we thought about, well, I guess we or I, or I think me and Tony Pratt this morning, or yesterday morning, were talking about using bananas, and we were like, well, you know, bananas aren't really typical of this area, so it might be a little foreign to them, you know, but apples grow in abundance up here.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why we chose apples.
Yeah, it's just a normal food source from up in this area.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you. You know, if you don't have bananas here, and you take a banana out there, you know, they go, what the hell is that? You know, unless they bust it open.
Right.
You know, and actually tries it, it's not going to know what a banana is.
Well, why do you think people are starting to see Bigfoot more often now? What do you think's causing that?
Encroachment. You know, how much of the forest and wooded areas, you know, do we see fall every day?
Right.
You know, case in point, where you live. You know, used to be woods all around you.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, boom,
35 houses.
You got a duplex next door to you. So, you know, and we go in and we eat these places up, and this is where these things live. And when you do stuff like this, you move them, and people start seeing more and more of them. Plus, we're taking their food source from them.
All right.
You know, here over the last few years, you've heard where they've been seen in dumpsters, you know, dumpster diving and going raiding trash cans. Why do you think that happens? Because they're hunting for food. You know, we're taking their food source as much as we're taking their living.
Yeah. Well, I think that just what you said, and coupled with everybody's got a camera phone now. Everybody's got video on their phone.
Yeah.
I think you take that in consideration. You know, people can see something and post it a minute, you know.
Sure, and look over the last 10 years, how Bigfoot has been brought forward into the limelight.
Yeah.
So it's an everyday name, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go to Facebook. Totally ate up with it every single day.
Yeah, everybody's got their own little Bigfoot clique and Bigfoot wars, and everything's going on. You constantly have these groups on, you know, Facebook, for example. They're just constantly bickering and bitching back and forth to each other. Kind of makes me want to just drop out of the whole damn group thing on Facebook, you know, because
and you know, I don't even go
everybody wants to be the man.
Yeah, I don't even go through it as much anymore. You know, I see the Bigfoot stuff, you know, unless it's got a real catchy title to it, I won't even look at it. You know, it's just a bunch of malarkey, and, you know, after 46 years of doing this, you kind of, you know, I think I kind of have an eye for what's bullshit and what's not.
Yeah, you know, I've up here in this particular area, I've seen the, you know, the giant, you know, more robust types of Bigfoot, kind of like what you would expect out of a Patterson-Gimlin film.
Right.
And, you know, but, you know, they have the real human-looking face, you know, with the exception of the brow ridge here. I've yet to see a Bigfoot that has a cone head. I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not completely sure if they even exist.
Well, I think they exist. I think it's
because
maybe,
it seems like here.
The area, maybe it's the area.
Yeah, it seems like here and down in Alabama and Georgia and maybe some parts of Florida, they have that more rounded human type.
Yeah, the more rounded head. Right.
And why that difference is, I don't know, but.
Well, you know, in '75 when I seen that big white male down in South Florida, it didn't have the coned head. It had the more of a rounded head.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was a little higher, but it didn't cone out.
Right.
You know.
I've always wondered if that coning was some type of ponytail or hair weave or something like that they've got going on up there.
I don't know. I really don't. And, you know, and really going back and looking at Patty, she really wasn't really cone head.
Right.
You know, and it is like you say, maybe it's thick hair growth up there.
Yeah, or maybe it's something, you know, I've heard a lot of people say that there's a type of mane.
Yeah, they get that punk rock look.
Yeah, goes down
going on.
And I'll tell you something else I've never seen. I've never come across a footprint that I've casted and that mid-tarsal break. I've never seen that with a Bigfoot here.
And I haven't either. And, you know, I was very skeptical of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when you start hearing people say, "Oh, they got the mid-tarsal break and they can hang upside down from a tree limb."
No.
You know, what are you smoking?
Right.
You know, really, I mean, seriously, what are you smoking?
Trying to figure out how an 800 or 900 pound mammal or or possibly even greater, maybe upwards around 1,000 or 1,100 pounds, is going to be able to climb up trees and
climb the trees like they say.
And navigate successfully,
They're not doing it.
I don't think so either.
When we discussed that today, I think if you see one in a tree, it's an offspring.
Yeah, probably a small.
Generally, it's playing around, or like you said, they climb up these small saplings, ride them over.
I've heard of the younger Bigfoot doing that. They'll kind of shimmy up a sapling and ride it down to the ground like it's some type of game or something.
Right, and at times they'll do something. They'll attach it in some way. They know how they do it. I don't. That it stays like that. So but I don't know. I would think that if you seen one in a tree, it's a small one and not a big one.
What's the hairiest Bigfoot experience you've ever had? I mean, the one that really set you off on the edge.
Oh Lord. Well, actually, none have really set me off on edge. But I have a couple in North Georgia where we go. We've been going there for 25 years now.
Yeah, I want to visit that area one day.
It's a great area. Yeah, it's about like this. It's just a kind of a habitat, and people up there.
No hunting, none of that. Just safe haven.
They have deer hunting there.
Yeah.
And they're turkey hunting and stuff. But the people around there tell you, this thing's been here forever.
All right.
And you go. There's actually a blog there around that town, and every so often you hear them talk about it, and they say up on this certain ridge, they've always been there.
Right.
But, I would think the one that really stands out the most to me is when 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, when we were up here with you and we took the pictures of the dog man.
Yeah.
We were able to observe that for an hour and 15 minutes. And before that, people were talking about dog man, and I would sit back and say, people, what are you smoking? There's no such animal.
Well, I might put this picture in the YouTube here we're doing. I'll put that picture there so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and until I saw it with my own two eyes, and it wasn't saw it, we actually were able to observe 5 of these things.
I never would have dreamed in a million years of anything like a dog man or what we perceive as a werewolf, or a lot of people call them werewolves. I never would have dreamed that would.
And you've been hearing werewolf stories for eons. And, now I just tend to think, one, there's not a werewolf. But, it could be this dog man that people have been seeing, and they just mistaken it. It resembles,
for millennia.
Yeah. it resembles the werewolf and what we've come to know a werewolf as from Hollywood.
Right.
And this thing in ways resembles that. And I think when people see it, oh man, I saw a werewolf. No, you saw a dog man.
Right. Yeah.
But, the jury's still out on, the dog man is a kind of a new thing that's been brought to the public within the last few years. And if y'all are hearing all these pops and bangs and everything, we're kind of being bombarded by acorns
and walnuts and everything
else. And bouncing off the glacier and bouncing off in the woods. So we're not getting attacked yet that I know of.
All right. I guess that would probably, me and you share that same experience because we were with each other. That was probably the most strangest encounter. Seeing normal type Bigfoot walking around with what these things we're calling dog men.
Yeah.
It's like they got some kind of a semblance or connection. They stay together,
Yeah, and even down in Georgia, we did an investigation this past summer. On a regular Bigfoot, it's all it was, regular Bigfoot, but, that was in this area. And while we were talking with the people, they're saying, oh yeah, we've had dog man sightings 20 miles from here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, are they running together? Are they traveling together? I don't know. It's, you know, is the dog man the warriors of the group? I don't know. You know, I don't know what kind of connection is there, but, you know, we do know in the photograph that we took, you zoom in close enough, you see the face of a regular Bigfoot in the background.
Yeah.
You know, behind this dog man. So, you know, it was interesting, and you know, every time we go up there now, you know, it's just you gotta
weird place.
You gotta be cautious. You know, you gotta have all your faculties tuned in on that in itself, because we don't know their behavior. You know, do they act like the Bigfoot? Or will they attack you, or what? We don't know.
Right.
So that's just where you're going, kind of with a heightened, you know, sense going in.
Yeah, it's a big mystery. I think Bigfoot. I don't think it's a primitive form of man, like if some people seem to think.
No.
I think it's something that just kind of, you know, evolved right alongside us. You know, maybe kind of parallel. But
Well,
I think it's its own thing. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, and a lot of people believe in the chain of evolution. A lot of people don't.
Right.
I'm one that don't. You know, I just don't think we came from a monkey, and I don't want to be the one to stand before God one day and tell him he's a monkey. You know, just don't want to do that. But you know, to each his own now. But if you go back in theory, you know, where they say, oh, there's a missing link. Well, why couldn't this thing had branched off at that point? And as we progressed forward to now, this thing paralleled us, just like you said.
Yeah.
But didn't change. That.
Well, we can find bones from way back. We can find some that are somewhat more closer to us, I guess, on the timeline. But you know, everybody wants to point to the middle being a missing link. I don't see how a missing link could be possible if you've got an origin and nothing in the middle, and then what we are. How is it a missing link? I mean,
True. You know, basically, I just come to look at it this way. It's one of God's creatures that we're just now learning about.
Yeah.
You know, it's been here for hundreds of years, but, you know, and it's been spoke of for hundreds of years.
Thousands of years.
Yeah.
Probably tens of thousands of years.
You know, and it's mentioned in all kind of legend and lore. So, you know, they've always been here, but I just think it's one of God's creatures.
Yeah. This is also very near the area, and I forget the guy's name. It's a Mormon book. I believe the story or the book I think is called Clan of Cain.
Mm-hmm.
This is very near where the guy supposedly had his experience with his Bigfoot. You know, while he was riding, I guess, a pack mule going somewhere, you know, and he actually encountered a Bigfoot and talked with it. So very near where that happened also.
Yeah.
And this area in the past, I know, has been, it was just infested with Native Americans. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Cherokee Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they had all sorts of stories about the Bigfoot, the dog men. They worshiped the dog men. You know, the wolf that stands up on two legs, all of that stuff. So
Right.
It kind of makes you wonder, you know, if they were worshiping a wolf that was standing on, you know, in this general area where they were worshiping a wolf that stood on two legs, were they actually revering the dog man in some way?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and everything we think and talk about for now is
hypothetical.
It's theory. It's what it is.
Yeah, we can't prove anything.
Yeah, there was a place in Arizona. I done a couple expeditions out in the Matterhorn Wilderness, and there's this area up there called Glen Gowan, and you know, they homesteaded this area like 150 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and stories, I know a couple of the stories from there. But one of them was that they established trade with these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they learned to coexist. They didn't get the bombardment of boulders on their cabins and stuff. And these things trying to run them out.
Yeah.
They just kind of coexisted, but very interesting area out there.
Well, what do you think about the Bigfoot man as being a strictly spiritual being that,
well,
if
you go back, me and Tony and my team have talked about it a lot. He's real religious, and it's like he says, in order for something to be spiritual or to be able to dimension walk and whatever, it would have to be spiritual.
right,
And it couldn't go from a spirit to a solid mass like we are.
yeah,
And then go back to spiritual.
right,
So, and if it did, it would be demonic.
right, I think so.
And I don't think Bigfoots are demonic.
No, they're not. They're an animal just like we are.
Yeah, they breathe, they eat, they take a dump and everything else just like we do.
Yeah.
That's the nicer term of saying it.
Eat, sleep, shit, breathe it.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to put it out in that term.
Yeah. I don't believe, you here recently, we were talking about this today, here recently in the last 7 to 10 years, you've had this massive influx of the psychic Sasquatch, the interdimensional Sasquatch. I kind of think it's bullshit.
Well, it has to be. And like I told you earlier, when I started doing this in '68,
There weren't any of that around.
none of this stuff was around. This stuff came about in the last 10 years,
Right.
and people are just so far out there.
Yeah.
And, I kind of say it this way. People get so wrapped up in what they believe this to be, and they go way out in left field.
Yeah.
And people lose sight of exactly what they're looking for, and
Yeah.
it's standing right here in front of them.
You have this group of people that's out there now, and we were also talking about this. They have a Bigfoot teacher, or this Bigfoot is projecting to them what the end of the world would be. You know what I have to say about that? They make pills for that condition.
Really? Really? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
I mean, you have a lot of people that create this hocus pocus mumbo jumbo stuff to sell books,
Yeah.
to make movies, to make DVDs, to make CDs.
And the sad thing is, a lot of the people that read this garbage believe it.
Yeah, the new people coming in that are reading this crap
Believe it.
are taking it in, just like something they're watching
Yeah.
on TV.
Yeah, they do.
And I think it's doing the Bigfoot community more harm than it is good. Because for
Sure
one
is.
thing, it's not teaching them how to do field work. It's not teaching them the value of actually getting out there
Nope.
and, hoofing it and trying to find out what's going on. It's sitting
Yeah.
behind a keyboard. It's sitting behind a keyboard.
Precisely like you said,
behind a
armchair
keyboard.
quarterbacks.
It's sitting behind a keyboard trying to, sell a book,
Yeah.
create a thought, create a cult, And I think it's doing the Bigfoot community more harm than it is good. And there are many out there that are doing this.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And really to the point that it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it does hurt the research. I don't care what anybody says. It does hurt the research, and it hurts the legitimate researcher.
Nobody wants to go in the woods anymore and look for Bigfoot. They'd rather go to Facebook, go to a website, read a book on how Bigfoot gets into your mind, yada, yada. Because it's easy. It's the easy out. It's what it is.
True. Bigfoot does not astro project itself into motel rooms. I even heard that one time. You know, I had 3 Bigfoots that astral projected themselves into this motel room I was staying in.
Yeah.
Right. Quaalude kicked in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I've heard of people, man, saying that they go out in the woods, sit on a rock, sit on a stump, their Bigfoot buddy or something comes up and sits there and talks to them in their mind for 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know. Well, why doesn't the thing just open its damn mouth and talk to you?
Really?
You know?
Really? Yeah, if it has the ability to do that through mind thought,
everybody would be hearing them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. We've been doing
it's an easy out. It's an easy out for people, I think. I think when people get to the point they don't want to research it anymore, they turn to that shady, paranormal, mind speak type of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
You know, just and conveniently is something that you can't disprove, but you can't prove it either.
That's true.
You know, it's not like going and pulling a footprint or gathering some hair or anything like that. How do you show people that even exists?
Yeah.
It's because it doesn't.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do agree with you.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, you know, people get way, way, way out there. And the thing is, you know, it's going to continue, and there's going
to continue. It's going to get worse.
There's going to be the people who just dead up believe it 100%.
What do you think about it, Sleepy?
I am sleepy.
You're about to go to sleep.
We all just ate our dinner. We come in from all day of researching, and we cooked and everything, and Renda's going to sleep. So
I'm tired. I really am. I'm tired. Well, you guys was talking about these people reading these books and things like that.
I'll be right back.
I think that's when they start talking about Bigfoot, stuff like that. They read out of the book what they got in their mind out of that
a lot of them, and a lot of them follow people that are trying to drag this lie on. You know, they're trying to convince people that Bigfoot's some kind of a just a supernatural thing. And it's not.
It's not.
It's flesh and blood.
It's real.
It's flesh and blood. It lives in the woods. It's just cunning.
Yep.
It's elusive. And people have forsaken all of that.
Yeah.
For the mind speak theory, the shape shifting theory, the this theory, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a convenient way out.
Yeah, it is.
So when a person comes to me with that type of stuff, when I look at them now, I say, well, that tells me right now that, the research that you have ever done, any research that you have ever done is over because you've succumbed to this kind of belief.
Right.
So, I don't know. It baffles me.
And some people don't know what we look like.
Well, see, people don't get out anymore.
That's a problem. That is a bad problem.
People don't get out anymore. I bet everybody that I know that says that they Bigfoot research, I will bet that probably 75% of them can't even build a campfire.
That's about the truth.
Or pitch a tent.
That's about the truth.
Or handle a firearm. It's just craziness like that.
Get a little bit of heat going.
I don't know, man. I enjoy Bigfoot research.
I enjoy doing it for what it is.
Yeah.
We don't have the fancy gadgets and everything that's out there today. I've always done it the old-fashioned way.
Well, I find it funny, man, that the fancy gadgets aren't bringing in any results either.
They're not doing no more to them. Yeah, and the ones that get out and do it the old-fashioned way. They get out and look for the sign, track it, and follow it like they did in the old days. Them are the ones that are finding stuff.
Right. I don't know. I don't know if anyone will ever. I mean, I guess I guess, yeah, I would say that eventually somebody's going to bring one in, either dead or alive.
Yeah.
Hopefully alive. I wouldn't put no more wood on there, man. We'll let that burn out and go. That's a good stick, though.
Well, it'd be a fire poking stick.
There you go. What do you think Bigfoot research is going to be in the next 10 years?
I don't know.
Honestly, the way it's going, honestly, no telling.
Because most of the
I hate to see the things that people are going to come up with.
most of our Bigfoot hunters are going away. They're dying.
Well,
You don't have such a big, a new crowd coming in there like
No,
you
you
used to.
don't. Not like you used to.
And have you ever noticed the ones who get out and really, pound the pavement?
Right.
The ones that really get close, if you notice, they do die off.
Yeah.
They die off.
And it's really kind of odd, that the ones that would just really get out there.
And they're always the first ones to be called hoaxers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the group that sits behind the keyboard.
Yeah. Or sits in Mama's basement.
Yeah.
Afraid to get out.
And they're an expert.
They're an expert.
It's unique. I don't know. Yeah, and like I said, I don't listen to the malarkey, man. I go out and do what I do. I do what I do for me. Not to go out and try to prove it to anybody else.
I don't want to prove it exists to nobody else.
Yeah.
To me, I've already proven to myself, and I know you're all the same way. Y'all have already proved to yourself that it exists,
That's it.
and that is what matters.
That's it. Yeah.
I don't have to prove anything to a damn soul.
I've seen
right.
it more than 14 times. I know that it exists.
I stopped counting.
Well, I stopped at 14. So, it's probably been more than that in a 46-year period. But,
Right.
I know that it's there. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I have fun doing it. That's all I need.
Yeah. A lot of people don't get that about Bigfoot research. It should be fun. It should be educational. It should be exploratory, and it should be fun.
Don't make a business out of it.
No.
Business is exactly what a lot of people are doing. They're making a business out of Bigfoot.
When you make a business out of it, you start getting into the Hollywood end of it. Like some things we won't mention.
Yeah. But they come on Sunday nights, I believe.
But they come on Sunday night. But you lose your perspective of what you're there to do.
Right.
And it's all about that rating. It's all about what's going to keep your show alive, what the people want to hear, how they want to make it more exciting next week. Bigfoot is what it is.
Yeah.
And if it's exciting, then what we bring to you will be exciting. If it's not, it's not. I mean, it's not going to be exciting all the time.
Right.
It's not going to be all glamorous.
Well, it's like we were talking about this time, and this happened several times before. You'll come up here spend 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days up here. You won't hear or see anything. You might come up for 2 days.
Yeah.
And you might see just a ton of stuff, gather just a large amount of evidence in just 2 days. It just, you just got to take the bad with the good and roll with it.
You were just there this time at the right time. And not every time's the right time.
Not every time's the right time. You're going to fail in Bigfoot research more than you're going to be successful.
That's it. You're going to fail more than you prosper.
And the true researcher is not going to make profit out of this. They're not going to profit from any of this. You're going to lose more money.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, for as long as I've been doing it, I ain't never made a quarter off of it. Be nice, but I hadn't.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit and fabricate stuff and fake stuff, to make $1.
Right.
I'm just not going to do it. And, I got my beliefs on the people that do it, and they get caught,
Yeah, we've had somebody recently get caught, faking evidence and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing because, once somebody hoaxes, you can't trust them anymore. Because it's kind of like being a prostitute. Once you're one, you're always one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's your reputation, and why do you want a reputation as a hoaxer? I mean,
Right.
Especially tear it down.
Yeah,
You got to build up.
and then it makes it that much harder on the legitimate researcher out there to try to get people to understand that this thing is here.
And the thing is, we've got hoaxing going on at all levels.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
We've got Bigfoot dead bodies supposedly. We've got DNA mixed with bear, lemur, or whatever.
We got them stored away in freezers.
We got them stored away in freezers. And do you know we already catch so much flack from people that we already kind of look silly,
Yeah.
And so that just kind of adds to it.
It does. It really does. And they, it's all fun and game to them, and where it hurts the actual field, that goes out to try to prove these things are here.
Right.
So, the Bigfoot mystery shall continue.
Yeah, for now. It continues tonight.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything online or anything on TV, so it continues still even tonight. But, yeah, I kind of like hanging with the same like-minded people, man. They just, no bones about it, do good, hard research, and, you and Renda do that. And, I've got a few more people that I know that do that. But I know a lot of people that won't sacrifice the time to do the research. They want instant answers and stuff like that. Fabricate stuff.
Well, and I think a lot, too, that would thoroughly help this field, and it's how me and you met, is people within these different organizations are going to have to start sharing information.
You would think that would be the objective, is to share your findings.
Yeah.
But that kind of goes back to what that thing was I was telling you about, that everybody wants to profit from it, and everybody wants to be the man.
Yeah.
They don't want to share.
They don't want
to
share.
They want to say, hey, I done this, and nobody else helped me.
Well, I know Mitch Waite in Arizona, real good friend of mine. And me and him share information. Something that I know might not be working for me, but it might work for him. Yeah. And vice versa. He might be trying something that don't work for him, and he's saying, hey, I've been trying this, and I'll give it a shot, and I might get results from it.
Yeah.
That's sharing information.
Yeah.
By no means am I saying give up your research and what you found.
Right.
But you can share the information of how you got there.
See if what he's doing applies here in this, here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
And it's going to stay a mystery too until some of these teams start coming together and learning, better to work together than work apart.
Yeah.
Battles ain't won by working apart from each other, they're won by working together.
Yeah.
I guess what they're doing, they hear about the DNA and stuff like that, and it's real, and I think a lot of people are backing off of it.
I don't know if they're backing off. Too many people are buying into what I consider to be a bogus story. It's a charade that's been going on for almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
In 6 years, you would think that somebody could definitively prove if something existed or not.
Yeah.
And I just look at it as, whoever those individuals are, they're just bleeding money out of investors and stuff, But, I guess everybody's got their own.
Well, if you have DNA is gonna talk volume.
Yeah.
They can go out and arrest you for a crime that you committed 26 years ago through DNA, but they can't prove through DNA that Bigfoot exists.
Right.
Really? Really?
People go to jail because
committing a murder 35 years ago.
A private investigator or an investigator finds a footprint that matches the sole of a shoe worn by a guy 20 miles across town, but yet we pull footprints out of the ground of a walking upright
Yeah.
being. Nobody believes it.
And nobody believes it. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's a vast majority of the prints out there that are faked.
Oh yeah.
You know, I told you yesterday, like Grover Krantz said, if you got 9,999 footprints, or you got 10,000 footprints, and 9,999 of them are proven fake, but you can't prove that one last print to be fake, then you have something. What are you trying to do, burn yourself up?
No.
What is it, a spider?
I think so. Good little anything like that was come crawling up to my leg.
She was being visited by Ralph the Spider.
Yeah.
She wanted to be on YouTube also.
Oh, great, Scott.
Well, I think we had a good little campfire story. What do you think?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we did.
You know, and it's
Or
fun
stories. We hit on a lot of subjects in a little bit of time. But avid Bigfoot researchers out there, they know where we're coming from, man.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
So the serious Bigfoot researcher knows where we're coming from with all this.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll have hopefully some more videos from this particular trip. So.
And upcoming events.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, by the way, these two guys here has got a radio show going.
Oh,
Oh, Renda wants to bring up the radio show.
yeah.
Visit us on Blog Talk Radio, Chattahoochee Bigfoot and Other Mysteries Radio. We're on there every Sunday night from 7:30 Eastern to 9:30 Eastern p.m. And come check us out. And we'll see you there.
We have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.